Yoshida, and I teach English language and teacher preparation courses at the University of California, Irvine. I've been teaching English for more than 30 years, mostly in the United States, but also in Japan. I've been working at UCI for 20 years. I'm originally from a very small town in a farming area in Central California, but I've been living in Southern California for the last 40 years. My native language is English, but I've studied several languages, including German, Japanese, Spanish, French, Latin, and Russian, but I can't say I'm really fluent in any of those. I love teaching English and helping students use English to achieve their goals in their education, their careers, and their personal lives. And I hope you enjoy studying in this course. Welcome. Before we start this course, let's take a little time to think about why you're here. What do you hope to learn from the course? What are your goals for your education and your life? Is there anything that concerns you about the thought of studying in a university in an English-speaking country? Along with many exciting academic and personal opportunities, going abroad to study might be a little scary. But you're not alone. Thousands of students from all over the world study abroad every year, and there are many practical tips that can help you be more confident and successful in your future study. In these courses, we'll share some of those tips and give you some background knowledge that will help you be a successful student. So what is it like to be an international student in an American university? Let's hear from two international students at the University of California, Irvine. Kanna is from Japan and Rudra is from India. They'll tell you about themselves and share their experiences at UCI and their suggestions for other international students.
Okay, my name is Kanna Saito Lin, and I was a previous student at UCI ESL. And after that, I went to UCI master's program, and I studied public policy, and I graduated in 2020. I am working as a consultant in Japan right now.
My name is Rudra, and I'm originally from India, and I'm third year at UCI and studying biological sciences. This year is actually going to be my final year because I'm trying to graduate early. So yeah, the next spring quarter is going to be my last quarter at UCI.
So when the program started, I think I was still worried about my language skill. I could understand the classes, but for speaking wise, I couldn't really express my feeling, express my opinion. So it was difficult for me to communicate with other students, like join into a discussion and whatever. So that was the hardest thing. And also, I had to write like a long essay in the second language, so it's really difficult. And so what I did was using office hour a lot. Like I visit my professor all the time and discuss about my my essay so that I know how to write, I know what to write, and that doesn't lead to wrong direction of my essay. So I think what international students can do is always visiting office hour and ask questions as many as you want. And usually like all the professors are really nice. And I always tell the professor that I am international student, so I am still learning language, but I'll try my best. So that kind of stuff. So professor would understand my situation, and they were always helpful. Like, I still remember my first day of visiting my office hour. I was really nervous, but always didn't regret. Like, oh, I'm glad that I went, because I can get like good answers for my questions all the time. So yeah.
I'd say try to be more open to other people and asking for help. Don't try to do it all by yourself, because there's mostly language barrier, and I'd say international students myself might feel shy to go and ask for help, and so it's important to push yourself even though you might feel you may not want uh, to ask for help, and try to work with others and not just by yourself. You have other people around you studying too, so you can see that they're working hard. So I should probably keep working hard as well. I guess I'd say I was nervous before it happened, but and even while it was happening, but as you get closer to getting done with it, you feel good about yourself that you did.
First, practice. Like a lot of practice. A lot of practices will help. Definitely.
Welcome. Before we start this
I'm Ren Lo. I'm a third year biosci major.
So my name is Tao. I am a fourth year student at UCI. I'm majoring in international studies and public health policy.
My name is Duncan Chung, and I'm a fourth year right now, and I study aerospace engineering.
Hi, I'm Angela. I'm a second year biz admin major at UCI.
I'm Luisa. I'm a fourth year political science major and urban planning and public policy minor.
Hello, my name is Matthew. I am a fourth year student at UCI. I'm studying business administration with an emphasis in marketing and operations and management. I guess one thing about me, I'm actually getting ready to graduate in about a week or so. So time is ticking, but I'm excited.
There's like the lower division university-wide requirements, and then the upper division ones, usually it's geared towards your specific major. So I know that certain biology students take a specific biology like writing course. And like for engineering, they have one too, and it's geared towards like that field and like the types of like research papers that you would write in that field. A lot of my papers have to do with analyzing policy proposals, and those are more like evidence-based, like you have to draw from specific research and know how to cite specific research.
We were doing a grant proposal for the class.
This lesson is about the writing process. Using the writing process when you write essays will help you to do a better job. The first step in the writing process is pre-writing. Pre-writing is what you do before you write. One example of pre-writing is clustering, in which you just get your ideas down on the paper. You can circle different thoughts that you have and connect them to other thoughts. When you do this, you should not think too much about it. You should just do it quickly and get your ideas down on the paper. Another pre-writing activity is outlining. After you do a cluster, you can start to organize your ideas into an outline. The benefit of using an outline is that you can see before you start writing if you have enough supporting ideas and enough details to support those and enough examples to support those details. You can see if you have what you need to develop your essay. It also helps you to organize your ideas so that they flow logically. The next step is writing. If you have what you need to develop your supporting ideas, you can start to organize, do it quickly. After you do the pre-writing and you get some ideas about what you're going to write about, it's time to just start writing. In the writing step, you start with a rough draft, and a rough draft starts to look like an essay, but as you can see in these two examples, it's very messy. Again, you don't have to think too much about what you're writing. You just want to get your ideas down on the paper. So write quickly, don't stop to think about what you're going to say next. It's okay to scratch out words and to change your mind about what you're going to say. When you're writing a rough draft, you don't have to worry too much about mistakes. You'll worry about that later. Just get as much written as you can in your rough draft. The third step to the writing process is rewriting. This means writing again. The first thing you do in the rewriting phase is to revise. When you revise, you read through your rough draft and you look for ideas that don't work. Or maybe you find parts that need to be developed more. When you're revising, you're looking at the ideas in your paper and you're trying to make them better. You might add more examples, or you might word something differently so that it makes a stronger point. Here's another example of revising. You see that they took their rough draft and in the margins they wrote other ideas that they had. These are things that they'll want to add in later when they do their next draft. You can also see that they took out some things that they thought didn't work so well. When you revise, you should expect to have a lot of things written down on your paper like this. Going through this process and making these kinds of changes is what's going to make your writing better. And this revision process can go on for a while. You might write and then revise, and then you might go back and write your paper again, and then when you read through it again, you might find other things that you want to revise. And you keep doing this until your paper is just the way you want it. Finally, you will edit your paper. When you edit, this means looking for mistakes like spelling mistakes or punctuation or grammar mistakes. Don't worry about these things early in the writing process. Wait until the end and then check your spelling and grammar mistakes. Then it's time to write your final draft. And when you do your final draft, this is where you need to pay attention to making things correct. You want to follow your teacher's instructions about how to format the paper. If your teacher requires that you type it, you'll need to type the final draft. And your final draft should not have any corrections on it. If you find a mistake in the final draft, you need to type it again and print it again. The final draft should be perfect. Good writers follow some kind of process. If you don't have your own process, then try the process mentioned here. If you follow these steps, you're sure to improve your writing.
Paragraph basics. What is a paragraph? It's a group of sentences about one idea. It might be just a couple of sentences long, but more often it's 10 to 12 sentences. Sometimes a paragraph is all by itself. For example, if you're taking a test with a short answer essay section. Other times it's part of something much longer, an essay, a research paper, a novel, a news story. Paragraphs in academic writing in English are expected to have a particular structure. Following this structure not only makes it easier for your readers to understand your ideas, but also lets them know that you are a skilled academic writer. A paragraph typically has 3 parts: a topic sentence that tells the reader what the paragraph will be about and introduces the main idea, a body with several sentences that give more information and details about the topic. These support the main idea that was in the topic sentence, and a concluding sentence that ties the paragraph together and gives a final closing thought. Let's look at each part more closely. The topic sentence tells what the paragraph will be about. Here's an example. Trash in the ocean has become a very serious problem. It introduces the main idea so readers know what's coming. A good topic sentence has 2 parts, a topic and a controlling idea. The topic tells the reader what general idea the paragraph is going to be about, trash in the ocean. The controlling idea tells what you want to say about the topic. It's become a very serious problem. Here's another topic sentence. Smith University has a better MBA program than Johnson University. Can you find the topic and controlling idea? The topic is what the sentence is about, Smith University, and the controlling idea is that it has a better MBA program than Johnson University. Next, let's look at the body of the paragraph. The body gives support for the topic sentence, reasons, details, and examples that show the reader why the writer's idea is valid. The body includes several supporting ideas with details and examples to give more information about each one. Here's the topic sentence about 2 MBA programs again. How can we add support? We could point out that Smith requires a 1-year internship for graduation, but Johnson does not, or that Smith has more former Wall Street executives working as professors than Johnson. And we could point out that more Smith graduates go to work for Fortune 500 companies than Johnson graduates. All of these supporting ideas are more specific than the topic sentence. They are all ways in which Smith has a better program than Johnson. But the reader may not be convinced yet. We need to provide some details and examples for each supporting idea. Let's look at one of the supporting ideas in our list, that Smith has more former Wall Street executives working as professors than Johnson. We can support this with a statistic. Wall Street executives make up 53% of the professors at Smith, but only 29% at Johnson. We then explain why this is important. These professionals have unique insights into the concepts and strategies MBA students need. The first-hand experiences they provide give students an advantage when starting their careers. These details are the most specific sentences in the paragraph. The last part of the paragraph is the concluding sentence. It might summarize the ideas of the paragraph, and it often repeats the idea of the topic sentence, but using different words and grammar. Here's a concluding sentence for this paragraph. All these factors make the MBA program at Smith preferable to the one at Johnson. Compare it to the topic sentence. The same ideas, but different wording. In addition to having a good topic sentence, body, and concluding sentence, there are more things that a paragraph needs. Good paragraphs need unity. That means that everything in the paragraph is about the same topic and supports the topic sentence. In our paragraph, everything supports the topic sentence and explains why the writer thinks the MBA program at Smith University is better than the program at Johnson. That's good. But what if we added this sentence to the paragraph? Wall Street executives make a lot of money, so I want to be one. This sentence is irrelevant. It doesn't help explain why Smith is better than Johnson, even though it mentions Wall Street executives. We have to take it out. Good paragraphs also need cohesion. That means that all the ideas flow smoothly from one to the next, creating a logical path through the paragraph. The order of ideas needs to make sense. We also use transition words like first, next, and finally to lead the reader. And we use repetition of key words to remind readers of what the paragraph is about. Our paragraph has cohesion. The ideas are in a logical order, and the transition words first of all, in addition, and finally lead the reader through the paragraph. Also, the names Smith and Johnson are used throughout the paragraph. While it's not good to repeat the same words too often, some repetition reminds us of how the ideas are connected. You can make your academic writing great by writing strong paragraphs with good organization, including a topic sentence, a body, and a concluding sentence, and by making sure your writing has unity and cohesion. Academic writing style. Academic writing in English has its own style that is sometimes very different from spoken English or from more casual kinds of writing. It's more formal than general English and has different expectations about word choice and tone. For example, if you're talking to a friend, you might say, "The food at this place is awful. Next time let's eat someplace else." That sounds perfectly normal. But in academic writing or speaking, that would sound completely wrong. This sounds much more academic. The food at that restaurant has proved to be substandard. Therefore, the best course of action would be to eat elsewhere in the future. One way to make your writing sound academic is to use third-person pronouns, he, she, it, they, them, rather than first person, I, me, my, we, or second person, you, your. This helps academic writing sound more objective and logical. So, for example, instead of saying, "I think that," you might say, "It seems clear that." Another thing that will make your writing formal instead of informal is avoiding slang or other informal expressions. Slang can be fine in casual conversation, but it sounds out of place in academic writing. For example, instead of saying someone lost his cool, you could say he became angry. Instead of saying someone screwed up, say they made a mistake. Instead of saying something is available 24/7, you could say all day and night, every day. Instead of the abbreviation ASAP, say the whole expression, as soon as possible. Also, avoid overly emotional, subjective, or biased language. Even if you're writing about a controversial subject that people have strong opinions about, academic writing should sound as calm and objective as possible. For example, you would never write something like this. Some idiots claim that. Instead, simply say, some people say that. If you're writing about gun control laws, gun nuts sounds biased, while gun rights supporters sounds more objective. Or instead of saying, "this disgraceful idea," you might say, "this idea which is not supported by evidence." In the same way, avoid using exclamation marks, as they can make your writing sound too emotional, and they might keep your ideas from being taken seriously. Be careful how you use questions in academic writing. While you might occasionally use a question to introduce an idea, the topic sentence of a paragraph and the thesis statement of an essay should not be written in the form of a question. These should express an idea or claim that you'll try to defend and support. Asking a question there could make your writing seem unsure, as if you don't know the answer to your own question. Finally, avoid cliches in your writing. These are common expressions that have been used so much that people are tired of hearing them. They sound boring, and they may give readers the idea that you're not a very original thinker, and that's not the impression you want to give. Expressions like, in this day and age, in today's society, or only time will tell, should be replaced by simpler language. I know this seems like a lot to remember. There are so many things to avoid that you might wonder what's left. What can you write? The best way to develop a feeling for academic writing style is to do lots of academic reading. Pay attention to the way skillful writers of articles or textbooks express their ideas, and you'll develop a sense for what good academic writing sounds like. Plagiarism and how to avoid it. What is plagiarism? Plagiarism means using someone else's words or ideas and making it seem as if they are your own. Sometimes plagiarism is done intentionally. Someone knows they're using someone else's words, but they do it anyway. But sometimes it can be accidental. Someone might remember words they'd read somewhere but forget where they came from and use the same words in their writing. They don't intend to plagiarize, but they've done it anyway. If you use someone else's words or ideas without giving them credit, either intentionally or by accident, it's plagiarism. Plagiarism is wrong, and it can get someone in a lot of trouble. Let's look at an example. On the left side, we have part of an article. The source is listed at the bottom of the box. A student wants to use this information in his essay. On the right side, we have part of the student's essay that he turned in for a grade. Take a minute and read and compare the two. Is this plagiarism? Yes, this is plagiarism. The student has changed some words, it's true, but not enough. The highlighted words in each version are the same. The student just changed a few words, but the overall sentence structure, wording, and grammar are the same. It's clear that he's copying from the source without giving credit to the original author. This is not okay. If the student thinks that the wording in the article is so brilliant that he wants to be able to use the exact words, he could put the words in quotation marks and tell where they came from. He needs to include an in-text citation with the name of the author of the source article and the publication year, so readers know that these are the words of an article author, not the student's own words. Now the student has correctly used attribution, or telling where the words came from, to avoid plagiarism. If you quote someone else's words and put them in quotation marks, be sure to copy the words exactly. Don't carelessly make changes or add mistakes to the quotation. What if the student had written this? Now the sentence is safer because it has a different structure and more changes in wording. The student has paraphrased the original or expressed the same idea using completely different words and grammar. A few short phrases are repeated, like gun laws and gun violence, but these are standard phrases related to the topic. It's also all right to repeat the American Bar Association because this is the official name of an organization and can't be changed. Here's the final step. The student has paraphrased the source information and also included a citation so we know where the information came from. This lets the reader know that these are not the student's original ideas, but they came from someone else. Knowing the source helps the reader evaluate how reliable the information is. So how many words can be repeated from the original without causing a problem? A good rule of thumb is that if 2 or 3 words are repeated, especially if it's a standard phrase, it's usually all right. But if more than 3 words are the same, the words should be in quotation marks, or the student should change the wording completely. To summarize, to avoid plagiarism, don't do these things. Don't use the exact words of someone else unless you put quotation marks around them. Don't change just a few words to make it look slightly different. That's not enough. You also shouldn't use basically the same grammar as the source, even if you change some of the words. Instead, do these things. Use quotation marks around words that are exactly the same and cite the source. Or paraphrase them to use the same meaning using entirely different words and grammar, and cite the source. Also, even after you've paraphrased information from your source, use a citation to show where you got the facts or ideas. By keeping all these things in mind and carefully avoiding plagiarism, you'll be on the road to successful academic writing.